Okay.
So now we'll start with the second session of the day. We are honored to have with us Mr. Rajesh M for the invited talk on the topic IoT communication and dashboards. He is currently working as a scientist, part of Embedded System Group at National Institute of Electronics and Information Technology. His skill set covers hardware platforms, protocols, modeling tools, optimization development, and wireless connectivity solution. I welcome you, sir, to deliver the talk.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, madam, and thank you all. So today in the coming 1.5 hour, so I'll try to address say like a few details regarding the communication and maybe the dashboard solution related to IoT. And I hope say like the as per the agenda, the previous session, you might have say like gone through the hardware details related to maybe IoT implementation. So in my agenda is something like I'll be just covering few information related to the components. We'll start with the components and then we'll go to the communication protocol stack. And then I'll be telling you like as the connectivity solutions and few messaging protocols, because this is the background required for dashboarding. And finally, I'll be ending up with a few dashboarding solution. And I'll try to say like cover one or two dashboarding solution, which is do it yourself kind of thing, because since it will be useful for as all our faculties, it will be useful for your maybe you can share to students, etc., etc. And then I'll be towards end, I'll be telling you what as an office organization, what needed doing with IoT, and then a few innovative cases actually which we have developed as part of our maybe various programs and some consultancy projects, R&D stuff, etc. I'll be just going through that. You know, like when in IoT is in the it's not a new, like it is reached maybe trying to mature that particular technology. Like you know, like we are seeing the world is actually started changing. So these are actually some old generation systems. So we can, some of you can remember this, like the rotary telephone system, and similarly the old car which is existing and pretty old, or maybe in some places still it is will be used like medical, you know, like the BP monitoring scenario kind of thing, right? So now all these stuffs are actually being modernized because IoT has a key role in that, because you know, like we have remote monitoring of the patient health, and similarly you know, like you can able to implement a driverless car. And similarly, not only in IoT solutions, like there are many areas of like the technology has been improved, because see, like IoT is something like it is not a single kind of area. It is actually covers almost all areas in the say like consumer as well as in kind of industrial applications. Okay. So let us we talk towards, and you know, like this actually one of the see like the reason of these changes, even in reflection Kerala, because I was just going through the recent Kerala budget, which is released maybe a few weeks back, and one of the point actually I was wondered because or maybe interested to share, because it was written something like maybe the Kerala budget actually digital push rights on subscribers, laptop plan, similarly fiber network plan, etc. Out of that, we can see like certain terms like artificial intelligence, blockchain, and IoT. So by seeing these technologies, the internet speed is actually they are trying to increase up to 1 Gbps. So that is actually a kind of say like the changes what it happens. Even like the government, how they are really looking forward towards this particular technology. And by this, we'll come to say like what is actually the Internet of Things. Maybe already you have addressed it, and now it was in past it was we called as Internet of People, and then later actually the Internet was actually extended towards things. Okay, some cases actually people started calling it as machine to machine communication, and later actually people to machine, etc., etc. So it is something like now it is like things, anything can be connected to internet. That's why the terminology, or maybe the new term evolved, we call it as Internet of Things. In Internet of Things, basically we covers, it is a network of physical objects and that are connected to the internet, and each object can like it can send the data, receive the data, and maybe some cases they can exchange data between here and there. So it can be applied to maybe like almost all field, right? So when you are talking about a smart city, or maybe a smart say like a vehicle or a smart home, all these particular scenarios, like there will be many kind of things will be connected, right? So in case of a smart say like environment, if you want to build it, it will be something like there are many say like sensors which is collecting like the pollution level in and air quality levels, etc. And those parameters actually you should be able to access remotely, like, so like before going to a typical place, and if you would be able to know that, okay, this is the current situation over there, and like the weather conditions are like this, or maybe the pollution indexes are like this. So those things actually, if you could able to remotely monitor it, that will be a great thing. And like there are two things are there. One is easy accessible, right? From anywhere we should able to do it. And another way, it should able to convey the things to a common people, right? The actually the importance of dashboard will come, right? Suppose if you are okay sending some data, but a common man cannot interpret the data what the sensor is sending. So then maybe automating or maybe creating this kind of scenario will not be useful. So the dashboarding should be we should able to make that even a kind of a common man, or maybe a kid can even understand, like, okay, this is what my sensor data, or maybe this is the situation is actually happening there. So the technology has developed that level, okay. So now even it has developed a little bit more. So that's why the present days the IoT is actually now like people used to call it as IoE, that is Internet of Everything. So we cannot restrict. Okay, it should be restricted towards only electronics, only electrical, or maybe only something. It is applicable to anything, even medical appliances, your building constructions, to automotive, and all industries are actually using this particular technology now. And now another very interesting thing, like as I was telling, why it is known as Internet of Everything, because like there are the last year statistics, if I am putting something around 57,000 say like objects are actually going to connect, like because everybody want, like someone is telling like, okay, I got a smart TV. So whenever a new guy is actually planning to purchase, he also will be feeling that, okay, whenever I am purchasing something, I should have the latest feature, right? So IoT is a kind of, or maybe connectivity is a kind of a new feature added to anything. So tomorrow you are purchasing any appliances, so it will be coming with something like, okay, internet connectivity, right? So that is what the statistics saying that it's a global statistics, and there are most of the things whenever you are say like purchasing now, it will be having some kind of maybe sensors integrated it, so that what will happen, you will be able to update the details, or maybe monitor certain parameters remotely, or remotely you can able to access it, etc, etc. So like if you say like I am going to buy a kind of a maybe a small say like a plant, I want to plant it in my home. So you want to have a kind of port if you want to purchase it. There are smart ports are available. The smart ports advantage is, even you put some soil in that, this will automatically identify the maybe the soil moisture. So if I am telling that, okay, this kind of feature is available, so because daily evening you have to put some maybe you have to pour some water, etc, etc. So that is maybe like employees kind of people now, so it will be a kind of hectic task, like daily evening we need to go there and put some watering, etc. But say like that kind of one like a kind of port is available, so it is really good, right? So people go for it. So that is actually one of the thing, like like total number of available devices, whatever devices, objects, etc. Now what happening, actually the sensors are being connected to it. And now even the left hand side, actually I have told about, right, the smart vehicle, like the application areas. It is not restricted to vehicle, children, cows, smartphones, etc, etc. It is actually can be applicable to any area. So these are some picks, and so some say like points I picked from each area, like vehicle is from automotive industry, and for animal monitoring and human monitoring, and smartphone is already existing, and smart utensils, etc., etc. And this is actually even previously I was talking about only billions. Now by 2030 or maybe 35, it is going to reach 1T, that is 1 trillion devices will be there in the market. Okay, so that many number of devices is coming to. So if you want to start with IoT, what are the technologies are involved in it? So basically the technology, if you are talking, it is a combination of many things. Since you want to convert a thing to a smart, right? So basically we need some kind of smart objects are required. So to any object you want to convert into a smart object, some kind of embedded technologies are actually required. So embedded in the sense you need a microcontroller, and similarly you need the suitable sensors and actuators, so that could able to interface. And then there is a powering circuit is required. It may be a battery operated, and then there is a communication solutions are required. So all together we call it as a smart object. So if you want to convert a normal chair to a smart chair, so smart chair will, it's something like its presence should be always updated. So in your college, maybe in regularly people used to update in every year. They'll be taking about what is the furniture stock verification. It's a big process, right? In big colleges, etc. So it's a tedious process. Maybe even I to do here in our office. Maybe we have stock verification. Teams are used to. But going and checking, because basically as part of our stock verification, there will be a kind of numbering scheme will be there. It will be something like nil, it, slash, etc., etc. for one table or maybe a chair, etc. But if you convert this table and chair into a smart chair or smart table or anything like small shelf, etc. So the good thing is it will be always connected to our say intranet, or maybe if you want to the cloud environment in the the outside world. So the advantage is you can able to monitor, in the sense the presence, whether how many chairs are there and what is its current position, etc. can be easily detected. So but for that, what is required? Now you cannot change your all the existing chairs and maybe the other things into a smart thing, right? So directly you cannot purchase it. Instead of what you will do, how will convert into a smart object? So for that, we need to have some kind of add-on circuitries need to be made. And then there is some kind of infrastructure is required. So that infrastructure may be a Wi-Fi infrastructure or maybe a LoRaWAN infrastructure, etc. So that is actually one end to converting as a smart object. The other end is you need an operational technology, so that you should able to collect this information and put it into some kind of a common place, and then say everyone can access it, or a restricted people can access it. So that kind of an operational technology you have to build it. And finally, for doing all these things back end, the knowledge of IT is very, very important. So you have cloud is in one side, certain cloud management scenarios are required. And in dashboarding, when we talk about dashboarding, of course, all these information somewhere in a common cloud, it is getting updated. But say people need to access it, right? It will be something the position need to be accessed by the managers, or maybe those who are assigned to that particular work, they need to do it, etc. So altogether, it's a combination, I can say. So if you talk on this IoT thing, because you need to understand there are two kind of solutions are available, depending on the complexity. This complete 4 BHK house can be completely automated. Okay, so these kind of solutions are available. But when it comes to an industry, Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hi, hello. Is it audible now?
Yeah, you're audible now.
Oh, okay, okay. Actually, in between, I think so. It was some network issue was there. That's why it got disconnected. Okay. I hope the previous one was heard right correctly. My screen is shared now.
No, sir, we can't see your screen now.
Oh, right, right. Wait a moment. Okay, share screen. Okay. I hope it's okay.
Yes, sir, we can see your screen now.
Right. Thank you. So I was just talking on say like the second aspect, that is the industrial IoT. Whenever it comes to industrial IoT, like the real-time nature of say like uh, the requirement is actually it is completely in real-time nature, so that the sensors and actuators are maybe like around tenfold say like expensive, so that the devices whatever we are using for building the industrial IoT will be entirely different, and the dashboarding required for this the IIoT, we can call it as industrial IoT, is slightly different compared to the previous one. So there will be some industrial protocol standard need to be maintained, etc. So after all, for building the IoT, we need the hardware solution, and the data has to be formatted in a proper manner, and there will be a kind of software mechanism need to be developed, it may be a stack some cases, etc. And proper connectivity need to be selected, right? In situation to situation, the connectivity matters. So, and this is actually the basic functional block diagram of an IoT, right? So you will be having the previous all cases which we integrated into a single block. So we can call it as a single functional block. So out of that one terminology which I didn't talk, that is the security. So that is also a very much mandatory. Maybe we will be having a security session, I hope, separately. So if you integrate all these things, this is, we can call it as a kind of an application on IoT. So there will be an end node will be there. This is basically a kind of a microcontroller, and then there will be some kind of the sensors and actuator will be integrated, and there will be an intermediate network. So this intermediate network will be formed by using various strategies. It may be like some sub-1 gigahertz modules, like ultra wideband module, or it may be like Bluetooth or traditional Wi-Fi, LoRa, or cellular, etc. So in a typical way of implementation, I'm not telling that this is only the way of implementing an IoT. So normally it will happen, this data will be forwarded to a central hub. If in your smart home implementation, you will be having a central router in your home where you used to get the Wi-Fi, right? So that Wi-Fi access point, we can call it as an intermediate devices, or we call it as a gateway. So, but in actual IoT, the gateway will be having some add-on features. So it is like a multi-protocol support will be available normally, multi-stand gateways, etc. And this is the point where the the external people can communicate it, so that people will be updating all the information to a remote cloud environment. Okay, so now what will happen actually, if it is a sensing kind of application, so the data will be forwarded to a cloud environment. And then finally, what will happen, many users want to know what is happening over here. So they can use laptop, mobile phone, PAMtop, or any other third-party monitoring solutions. So using that, instead of directly interacting with this, so they will be interacting directly to the cloud. Okay, so this is what a complete say like flow of an IoT, right? So in today's topic, actually, I'll be restricting towards this area, like how to do the dashboarding, like how well actually we can control these particular devices. So I'll be restricting my talk towards that area. Again, if you glance the entire thing, it start with device, right? So when we started with smart device, as I told, which consists of a microcontroller, sensor, actuator, and a communication module. Okay. Okay. So there are actually, traditionally many microcontroller architectures are there. So this is a kind of just list it start with a basic price of around 20 rupees onwards. You can get various microcontroller, and these are do-it-yourself kind of microcontrollers like Arduino, Raspberry Pi, and there will be ESP series, etc. So these are some kind of microcontrollers which you can start with developing your smart devices. And these are actually various sensors, because traditionally we are using for do-it-yourself application. So we have various sensors, and some actuators are actually available. These are for various kind of sensing applications. So, and similarly, sensors are, various categories are available depending upon your building automation, healthcare, consumer IoTs, transportation, etc., etc. Now, there are even certain sensors are available which we can implant in your body, and in certain cases it may be kind of recognition devices like tags also can be implanted. Okay, so this is also will act as and even animal IDs are available. Okay, few animal IDs, so which is like $3 if you pay it. Your is a kind of a tag, you can inject it to your animal so that you can track the animals, etc. kind of devices. And now similarly, there will be many sensors, because previously we were talking about this is actually the sensor network. There may be many nodes will be available, but in some cases what will happen, even the many nodes will be available on the same body. You will be having smart watches, and you will be having smart shoes, and you will be having pacemakers, and you will be having smart hat, etc., etc. Many things. So what will happen within the body itself? Many sensor nodes are available. So these will be calculating various informations, and we call it as body area network sensors. So that is also kind of comes under the IoT end node applications. Now, similarly, in certain cases, you will be using actuators, various kind of actuator platforms. Now comes the connectivity. So if you see in the IoT solutions, so there are actually connectivity is a very, very important thing. So with respect to the TR distances, like your node and your gateway, so if it is within a 10 meters, 100 meters, or if it is in you have like 1 kilometers, 2 kilometers, etc. So like that, depending upon the distance, we can actually select various technologies. And another very important thing, what amount of data, because suppose you use Zigbee. Okay, so Zigbee basically used for short range applications, but you want to transfer, an image over Zigbee. That is not possible, because Zigbee provides only 256 kbps data, okay, in a short range application, and or maybe in a even a little bit large distance you can cover it, but the data, the speed, data rate, we can call it as, that will be very less. So in such cases, actually people will be going towards Wi-Fi, where you have a bit smaller coverage area, but in a very good data rate, something around 300 Mbps, etc. You will be getting a very good data rate. So in certain cases, but still you don't need to send a data that much. For example, you want to monitor or maybe turn on some devices, or maybe your agricultural devices you want to turn on from your home, maybe your paddy field. So it is around 2 kilometers away. So in such cases, what you can do, you have to relay with a connectivity solution such as the LoRa is the latest one, or you can go with a your traditional 5G technology such as NB-IoT. So that is actually you can use, but in both cases actually it is comes under the LPWAN standard, okay, low power wide area network standard. So there also again data rate may not be that much good, because we cannot even send more data. If you want to again go for a larger data rate, you have to go relay with a cellular technology. So depending upon your requirement, the connectivity or maybe communication technology, the connectivity technology can be selected. And now actually there's a new trend is happening, that is like sending the things over satellite. Like instead of using terrestrial LoRa or LoRaWAN gateways, so people can actually upload directly to the satellite. But the present problem is like the satellite visibility is not that much good, because it will be hardly once around 20 minutes in a day. Okay, so it will be visible to the node, so that the updations may not be possible in a regular interval. So in one day once, something like that only you can do it. Maybe later, so like there will be an improvement will be there in the satellite. In the future, there will be a kind of satellite based IoT solutions will be coming, say like we can see in the future. And that is actually related to connectivity. Then I was talking about the gateway. So all these technologies need to be supported by the present day's gateway. Because if you want to build a general purpose gateway, so for like various applications such as smart metering, like your smart appliances control, or maybe monitoring your personal say like devices and trackers, etc. And in some cases, actually, you will be having security control solutions, surveillance camera. So what is required? This has to be terminated in a single environment, so that a person want to convert in their like the home into a smart home. So basically, these kind of one gateway is required, and it should be so secure, and also it should support the multi-standard communication solutions. Okay, so and also it should have a external connectivity to the internet. Okay, so that we can push certain information to the cloud, so that even from outside environment people can access it. So that is we generally call as gateway. And now very important thing, like before going to the dashboarding, so the problem is like we are not telling like how to send the data from here to here, like what kind of communication protocol is required, and then where to store it. So for storing, basically like we are using a kind of technology that is known as the cloud mechanism. One of the solution is cloud mechanism, and there are many cloud solutions are there. And from the cloud solution itself, it's like a database plus like the like the monitoring. So two things will be integrated on that. And it will be like there are open solutions are available, and like there are commercial solutions are available. Okay, so pay and use kind of thing. And like some DIY solutions are also available, like like the Adafruit, Blink, etc., etc. There are many small solutions are available. Now what will happen, like cloud is available, but how to extract this data to your devices? There comes the importance of the dashboarding. So like we need some trends. Some cases we need only trends, right? What was my the electricity usage for the last month? Okay, something like that parameter is required, so that like you have a smart metering capability. In some other cases, you need actually the real control of devices. Okay, so your real control of the device. When you want to control certain devices, what is required? You need like the buttons. We expect some kind of buttons, or sometimes it may be like you have some kind of regulation kind of thing. Okay, so your slider is required certain cases. So depends on your requirement. So the dashboard solution should be able to provide you all these things, right? So there are plenty of dashboarding solutions are available, and many dashboarding solutions, what actually they are doing is, in olden days, actually people will be making the dashboarding solution on the device itself. Like suppose you want to create a like on your mobile phone, so they will be keeping an Android based application, and then this application will be communicating to cloud, and then it will be giving the data, etc., etc. But the other trend is like even application is there. The other trend is the dashboarding solution will be implemented as a as a server based thing. So the dashboarding solution itself will be available on the cloud. So the advantage is, so like like the processing power will be maybe it will be you don't need much processing power. So what is we required? We need only an internet connectivity, and a browser is required, or maybe a simple app which can access a browser. Okay, so that kind of simple maybe like like it's kind of the server based dashboarding solutions. So that is actually widely being used. And now the interesting thing is there are depending upon your requirement, and depending upon the features whatever existing, so people can actually choose different dashboarding solutions. So now important thing is where the communication technology will, is important, because many of the applications, so suppose if you take a kind of an application, so like if you take smart vehicle, or if you take smart home, or logistics, healthcare, etc. So now like this required, maybe these kind of application required. For example, in case of smart vehicle, you are basically identifying some kind of the real-time telemetry details. And similarly, like you want to identify like the manufacturer, or maybe the insurance company, they want to check certain information about your vehicle, or sometimes it may be helpful for predictive maintenance. And in certain cases, you may be requiring for look ahead alerting. There is an accident is happened far away, or maybe a block is there. in advance you should able to get that kind of messages, right? And this is actually and smart tagging and all these things. So those features are comes under smart vehicles. And similarly, in case of smart home, it may be like energy tracking, or maybe automating certain say like appliances, or maybe some remote monitoring, etc. And when it comes to the smart say like health information, it may be a smart weighing machine or kind of thing, so that it will be regularly checking your say like a weight and whether, and it will be sending the information to like the physician, so that we can able to check your health conditions. So see, like why I'm telling, because most of the applications, whatever it is something like send some messages. It will not be a very large data chunk of data. It will be a few bytes of information we need to send it. Or in a typical use cases, if you take, so it is something like you can take any one example. For example, in a fully automated system you are implemented it. In that case, your car will be telling to your house, saying that when it reaches, automatically it sends it, and it send the or maybe message to the and also it will be sending a message at the same time to the coffee maker, so that it will be preparing a good coffee with your taste, kind of thing. So, and if you take some other application, if you take about the smart weighing machine kind of thing. So there the weighing machine automatically tells about the it weighs actually your weight, and then it send information to your doctor, and then maybe based on the daily weight, doctor can have a prediction whether you are following the diet, right? So these kind of applications are actually some of the applications are actually of this kind. So some sending the data, and collect it and store it, and then collect the statistics. Because why I'm telling this, because based on these kind of requirement only, we need to decide that what kind of communication protocols need to be, messaging protocol need to be used, and what kind of database management we need to create it, etc., etc. So now, based on that, this is actually a standardized, protocol stack, which is I can call it as used for most of the IoT applications. So we have a traditional TCP/IP mechanism, is there, right? So where we use the HTTP, or maybe the HTTPS kind of application layer protocols. Generally, people are using. And on top of that, people will be creating some add-on web applications. Okay, in earlier days, people used to create add-on web applications, and underlying layers are the application layer protocols are HTTP or HTTPS, and then transport layer, we will be selecting TCP or UDP, and then comes to the network layer. It will be in olden days it was IPv4, and now it is IPv6. And then you will be having an Ethernet connectivity, because traditionally when you say you are using this particular environment, either it is from a mobile phone or from a PC or a laptop. So where memory is not a constraint, and similarly network speed is not a constraint. In such cases, actually we can go with a normal web stack or maybe TCP/IP stack. But when it comes to an IoT, the problem is there are many problems are existing. The first problem is if you think of a device side. So in most of the devices are actually a low powered microcontroller, and similarly there are power constraints are there, it is a battery operated scenario, and in some cases the battery should strain up to maybe around 1 year or 2 years. Some cases actually we are not replacing the batteries, etc. So in such cases, what will happen if you use a thicker stack and a protocol stack, and what will happen? Maybe it will be consuming more energy for executing or maybe sending a packet. So what is required? We need a thinner packet is required, and similarly, what is required? We need to the data overhead, whatever you are sending, that should be of minimal overhead is required. So that's why most of the IoT application in the end node scenario. So it is something like extension of 802.15.4, that is used for your wireless sensor networking application. So basically the data rate will be really small. But interestingly, even its data rate is low, but our requirement is end-to-end connectivity. So end-to-end connectivity means I am accessing from my mobile phone, which is connected to a BSNL or Geo 4G or 5G. So then, like I am sending an on signal. So it is actually traveling as a IPv6 packet, right? So this IPv6 packet has to be reached to my end node devices. I'm not telling for all scenarios, in certain scenarios. So then the problem is like, how can we forward a IPv6 packet to a 256 kbps data rate network? Because like the end node is connected with sometimes Zigbee or sub 1 gigahertz kind of thing. So the protocol has to be updated. That's why, like in the internet layer, when you see of IoT stack, the internet layer, the traditional IPv6 will be, like it will be compressed. So a compressed version of IPv6 will be used. I can say like it's an analogy like compressed version, which is generally known as 6LoWPAN. So what will happen from the gateway environment? Okay, the traditional IPv6 packet will be like modified or updated with a 6LoWPAN packet. Okay, so like for that the protocol stack need to be implemented at the gateway level. Then what will happen? Like your 802.15.4 network, either Bluetooth or your sub 1 gigahertz or even traditional Wi-Fi can be used for sending this particular packet. But for Wi-Fi, there may not be an issue because certain things cannot be generalized. Application to application, it will be changing. If other than Wi-Fi, we need to use 6LoWPAN packet. In certain cases, without that also people are using, because instead that we will be using the traditional RIME packets will be used. So where the addressing will be 16-bit addressing. Okay, so like the traditional, like in Zigbee scenarios. So there are two kind of addressing is there. One is 64-bit based, another one is 16-bit network address based. So either people can go for it. Now come to the top layer, the transport layer. Basically, the TCP is taking a little bit overhead because of this handshaking. So that's why most of the IoT based communication protocols, whenever you are selecting, the UDP will be the underlying transport layer. So there is no the handshaking. But another very important thing, because as we are using this particular IoT for industrial IoT applications, so then in such cases we need to ensure the packet has been received, isn't it? So quality of service is a very, very important thing, right? So even you are using UDP services, you need to maintain the QoS, quality of service. And again, the security is also very important. So that's why the UDP with the QoS options are available with most of the IoT application layers. Now come to the top application layer. We are not relying with HTTP and HTTPS. So what is actually we need? We need a lightweight protocol, because HTTP and HTTPS scenarios, the overhead is little large. So what you have to do, we have to cut short the overhead. So that's why the new solutions are actually being used. It's a specialized solution which is known as the MQTT, say like AMQP, QoAP, etc., etc. And now on top of that, what you can do, this is actually the underlying protocols, the application layer, transport layer, internet layer, and network layer. And on top of that, you can use your own languages. Various IoT application model can be implemented. It can be using Java, Python, etc. You can use it and you can start coding it and you can develop an application. Now, like how to use this communication protocol for sending the data, and finally, you are to receive at a source end node level and at the user level, and people has to dashboard it, right? So for that, okay, so basically the protocols are required. I hope the generic thing. Protocols are a crucial part of IoT technology stack. And this enable the exchange data, and it's a structured way. There are various things are there for IoT protocol, because the IoT protocols are like, it should be lightweight, and it should be able to say like you send from multiple network environment. Okay, so that is actually one of the thing. Okay, so this again I am taking, because basic internet model is something A tell something to B and to do something. Because in the previous application, like your car is sending, telling a information to your, like garage open, right? So these kind of messages model actually we need to implement it. So in such cases, we will be using this kind of IoT ecosystem. Okay, in the communication protocol, we will be using the application layer as MQTT or AMQP or QoAP, and routing purpose 6LoWPAN, or there are various versions are available. Okay, and underlying you will be using the Zigbee or Wi-Fi, etc., etc. And now which operating system people can use it, because traditionally if you want to go with a R&D kind of environment, we can go with a Contiki. Contiki is having all these kind of facilities are available, and Linux is having most of the stack. OpenStack can be ported into Linux environment. Okay, and TinyOS, okay, with certain features are enabled in it, and hardware you can already in the previous session people are sir has explained, so that you can choose your own hardware solution. Now, if you talk on the MQTT communication protocol, because which is the widely used protocol, for pushing the data to in the cloud environment. So basically, there are two kind of things are required in MQTT. Because traditionally, if you use your HTTP web servers, so web server will be running, Google web servers, etc. And we are, it's a client server model, right? Basically, the web server model is something like a client server model. But here, this MQTT model is something like, it is like publish subscribe model. We can call it as publish subscribe model. And if you want to update a temperature, right? So what we can do, we can actually send a you have to create a topic. Basically, a MQTT broker is required, which need to be installed. If you are accessing a cloud, means on cloud actually we can use a typical broker. There are many brokers are available. So one of the broker you can select it, and the credentials will be available. So you can use the proper credentials, and then the thing can either subscribe or publish. So basically the actuation scenarios, most of the actuation scenario, it will be something like subscribe, because actuation means from your mobile phone you are sending on and off signals, right? So then what will happen, that on and off signal will be going to a broker as a publish or related to a typical topic. So topic can be anything. If monitoring kind of application, like temperature monitoring, temperature can be considered as one of the topic. But in case of light, so light is a kind of a topic, you can keep it. So, and someone can push the data. So then what will happen, that particular feed can be read at the at the thing level, or maybe you are at the light level, you can say. We connect a kind of a relay to the lighting system, and then there will be a microcontroller will be there, and that controller will be communicating to the broker via gateway, so that it can subscribe the information what it has updated. Okay, so the previous condition can be read. And another interesting thing, it's a very simple to implement. There are a lot of API calls are available for implementing the the standard MQTT publishing and subscribe scenario in all languages. It can be either in Python or C++ or in C. So like Java. So there are many API calls are actually existing. Now, if you talk on, see, this is one of the application, like patient monitoring scenario, like patient will be having some kind of monitoring devices, right? It may be the temperature, or maybe it's heart rate. Many conditions are monitoring, and that what that device will be doing. So that particular device will be publishing that information, like its temperature, heart rate, all these kind of thing will be published in a broker, which broker will be like it will be an intermediate environment. It will be on the cloud, so that always it will be updating the data. And at the doctor case, for example, there is a typical family doctor is there, and he is keeping an app or kind of thing. What that app will be doing, it will be always subscribe the information in an interval. For example, he is updating information every hour, for example. He will also try to subscribe the information every hour, so that the latest information will be available as a chart kind of thing. Now, what will happen on this particular application, there will be a kind of threshold value he will be keeping, as in the programming environment. If temperature or maybe its heart rate conditions are actually varying, so then what will happen, this doctor will get an alert. So he will be just verifying what was his condition, whether the previous hour he was okay. Then what he can do, if it's a hospital environment, means they can send a message to the bystander and saying that, okay, his conditions are not good, he need to be shifted to the hospital kind of thing. So those kind of applications are actually now available. Okay, so even it was it was available from so long in most of the foreign countries. Now in India also actually it is going to start. So now the difference between the like messaging protocol MQTT, the difference is I can say the size. So like the overhead is really less compared to HTTP. And in case of HTTP, basically it is kind of request response scenario. Okay, there will be a client will be there, there will be a server will be there. But in case of MQTT scenario, there will be a broker and multiple people can subscribe or maybe publish the information. So the pattern is we call it as publish and subscribe. Okay, and the header will be really less, as I told. Okay. And then how we can use this particular the messaging protocols. So there are actually commercials are available. The IBM is available, and I am going to enter into the dashboarding solution. In most of the dashboarding solutions, there are many MQTT brokers are available. So it will be this is actually the background protocol is MQTT. Even I will be talking on AWS or maybe some use cases I will be discussing. So in those use cases, so what will happen? The background messaging protocol is MQTT. Okay. So the some use cases we have the the tracking solutions like Uber kind of thing, right? So there we used to get the information regarding where the car is currently available. So those kind of environments are in the background protocol is something like the MQTT. Okay. Then another scenario is actually we have the constrained say like application protocol. It will be used generally in applications where we can use for industrial application. But compared to the previous one, it is not a publish subscribe kind of thing. So we need to have a control server need to be maintained in between. Okay, so or maybe we can call it as a COAP server. Okay, so there will be a data collection agent will be there. From the node environment, you can push the data to the control server, and as a background, there will be a web server will be there, so that if you want to access the COAP server directly, it may not be possible. But recently, even most of the web browsers are actually enabled with this particular feature. If you add an extension, so what will happen? You can directly access the control server. Okay, so COAP is also a kind of protocol, application protocol, which people are using in commercial application environment. Okay, so again in COAP also the underlying protocol is UDP, and you can also work. It can also work with IP environment or in the 6LoWPAN environment. Okay, so this is a kind of infrastructure where COAP works. Okay, this is a COAP environment, and this is a REST environment. REST environment is our general TCP/IP kind of thing. So that from a mobile environment, mobile phone or something like that, you can access the REST through a REST protocol. It will be communicating to a COAP server, and then from COAP server, it will be able to get the information related to various clients or maybe the nodes. Now what will happen? All these messaging protocols are fine. So now what will happen? How to use this particular messaging protocol and to get on our in our mobile phone, right? So for that we have to relay a common point. So this common point means the broker should be available in a common way, so that device also can access and third party also can access. Now I'll tell you like in implementation is concerned, in certain applications the cloud sometimes will be part of your intranet rather than in internet. Because for security reason, if you want to build access the device only within your office, it should not go outside office. In such cases, what you can do, you can actually have a broker within your campus. So there will be an internal cloud setup you can maintain, and then on that the broker can be installed. So that will be completely local to that particular environment. So the users need to communicate to this local cloud, and then through that actually you will be able to access the devices. So that is one kind of mechanism. And second mechanism is something like the principle of IoT is like connected from anywhere, right? So in such cases, we need to rely on a common cloud. So the common cloud is something like there are many are available. As I previously mentioned, Google and your Amazon, AWS, IBM Watson, etc., etc. Similarly, we have ThinkSpeak, ThinkWorks, etc., like that. Clouds are available. So I will be just showing you few clouds so that we can able to see this one. Now, actually, the importance is because why this cloud management? Because cloud basically we are keeping the data, right? So now a trend is actually increasing. That is like importance of this data marketplace. So that is IoT and data marketplace. That is a very important area, so that it is widely getting demand. Okay, on that, because on this particular data, people are actually getting money, right? So your devices data people is required. Okay, the statics information is required. What was happened in the last year for this particular area? That kind of informations are required by third-party companies and commercial agents, etc., etc. So that's why there is a very important, very much importance of this data marketplaces nowadays. Okay. Now if we will move on to the, before moving to the dashboard, right? We are talking about dashboard. How to select the like right IoT dashboard solution, or maybe like database, because your data need to be stored in an environment. So those data only actually we are visualizing it. So we can call it as using some visualization tool. We are visualizing this data. So there are certain criteria, something like to choose the best database architecture for an organization's IoT initiative. IoT logistics must understand the basics of all the database options. So there are, whether you have to go with a SQL based or non-SQL based, that you need to understand. Whether your database, your node data is coming as a streaming scenario or non-streaming scenario. So those things need to be understood. And again, it must determine the type of data to be stored and managed. Okay, and how the data flow is happening. And again, the requirement, what kind of analytics, whether you need more kind of analysis information are required, or simply the present data need to be updated, or maybe only the control information need to be updated. So that all things actually you have to decide it before selecting the right database. So there are, like there are static and streaming IoT database architectures are available. So that you need to understand. So after understanding this, your data will be updated in this particular database environment. And again, say like when you choose a cloud platform, you can see that what kind of database actually this particular cloud platform is actually maintaining. And once it is understood, then people need to see that whether I have to push the data locally or in a remote environment, so that you can choose a dashboarding framework. Okay, the dashboarding framework is something like where in dashboarding framework, basically what will happen, two things will be available. One is it will be associated with a third-party cloud. Maybe like you can use existing cloud environment, and then there itself there will be a dashboarding framework will be there. And you can what you can do means you can say like create the dashboarding layout there itself. In the other case, you can keep the data in cloud, and you can develop a dashboarding framework in your device side. Okay, in your device side. So what will happen? The device side dashboarding solution will be communicating the cloud, get the data, display according to your requirement. Okay, so both are actually available, and like there are commonly available dashboards are available. They are commercial in nature, few are open in nature, etc. The Amazon, anyhow, if you consider Amazon is using Dynamo DB, and again it's a non-SQL based database. And again, if you go with a IBM Cloud End, so it is again NoSQL database it is being used. So like in Google, if you say Google BigQuery and Firebase Data DB, it is being used. Okay, so like that, like before selecting the your storage, say like you can see that which is actually your real requirement. Then after that, we can think of database. Now, why actually dashboards? So basically, dashboards are automatically enhance the incoming data from equipment, right? We need to say like collect the incoming data, and with the help of dashboard, users can operate. Another thing is you should be able to operate it. That's a provision for operation is required, controlling operation, etc. Then monitor the the performance. Some cases actually the firmware update, remote firmware updation, etc. kind of provision you need to provide it. So monitor the hardware, or maybe you need to remotely monitor the oil level in a transformer environment, or maybe in some machinery environment, etc. So like level indicators should be required in that case. and let how the customers use IoT devices at a granular level, and then like let it guide your like in product, as I told, in the common man is accessing your like devices. So how actually simple actually you can deliver that like the environment. So that is also you need to, and quickly bring down your IoT analytic product to the market to offer customers premium dashboard and reporting functionality. So these all things are required in a dashboarding. Now, to do before building dashboard, so you need to think of what kind of protocols. So I have already discussed few messaging protocols and communication protocols what being used. So that actually need to be identified, and then you need to decide that are you going with a are you going with an open solution, or you want to go with a commercial solution? And another thing, this is actually another very important thing, whether you want to start with a ready-made solution, or you have to start to make something new. Because as I told, as part of like your AWS, or as part of your like ThinkSpace, etc., already there is a dashboarding solution is available. So for your requirement, that is okay. If that is not okay, then what we need to do, we need to build our own dashboarding solution from scratch. So, or maybe with like some existing supporting libraries are available, means you can start with that. Okay. Now another very important thing is you need to understand your capabilities of your gateway. Okay. So if you want to build a local dashboarding solutions, whether it is good enough to install such kind of facility in your gateway, that you need to understand. And finally, once you are selected, okay, a dashboarding solution you are selected, whether and like as part of your dashboarding solution, you have a proper widget is available for displaying it. For example, you need to you have selected some dashboarding solution. In that dashboarding solution, there is no provision of button. For example, you need to send on off. If you want to switch on and off, you have to manually type on and then off. Then that dashboarding solution is actually it may not be useful, right? So similarly, you need to understand whether widgets are available properly with you. So that is a kind of thing. And there are many other solutions are available. Okay, custom dashboarding. Okay, now I'll tell you. I'll just tell few dashboarding solutions. So I'll start with a very scratch one, and I'll reach to the advanced level. So now, if because because we are all maybe trying some kind of DIYs, like do it yourself, in such kind of thing. So you can start with a small dashboard. For example, one of the dashboarding solutions is known as Blink. I don't know whether some of you have heard about it. So this Blink is something like, it's a small dashboarding solution for like to control multiple nodes. Okay, to control multiple nodes. And like in this Blink, it support many hardware, right? In Blink, first thing is you need to understand that whether you have support of what are the hardware you are using, because for converting a thing into an embedded thing, so smart thing, and then you will be using a microcontroller. So whether the Blink is having that support is or not, that you need to verify it. And another very interesting thing related to Blink is like the widget. What I am telling now, there is a limitation in widget is there. In open version, there is an open version is there, commercial version is there. So as suppose you are creating this as a dashboard, because basically Blink is something like an app. It's an Android app, or you can say it is even available in iOS too. So it's an application. It's a mobile application. So from this particular mobile application, what you can do, you can directly access your end devices, and you can get the statics, etc., etc. Maybe like I can just show you a small demo on this, maybe like how the look of this Blink. Okay, I'll just share my screen. Wait a moment. Hello. Maybe.
Hello?
Yes. I am just sharing my screen. Okay. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yeah, right. So this is actually my mobile screen. I'm just showing you. Okay. You can see my mobile screen. Okay. Making some changes. Okay, I hope it is visible, right? So now I'm showing you an app, right? You can see a blink, right? BLYNK. You can able to see this. Hello.
We can see a screen with COVID-19.
Right. Yeah. See, that is actually a small kind of stuff which we made. It's a kind of prototype we made during that COVID-19 time. So, like, like this actually the app developed or maybe the dashboard development environment. So basically, you can see these are the widget available on this, right? There are buttons are available, style buttons are available, sliding bars are available, and timers, etc. And you can see there are some 200, 400, etc. is written. That is actually, like it's a kind of the the balance. I can say the each widget actually we need to pay. Okay, so initially there are few free options are available. Okay, in the open version. For other widgets, what you can do, you need to pay it. So now interesting in how we can use it. So basically for using purpose, the first thing is you need to create like a kind of devices, right? There are actually these are a list of devices are available. You can see this is under my name I have written, and this is the theme which we have created. Okay, which you have created. You can create a new project, etc. Then after that you can select a new device. Okay, any device is required. Then these are the list of devices, right? Maybe you people will be using many devices, right? Maybe Arduino platform is available, and similarly we have something like ESP32, ESP826, and Intel Edison, Intel Galileo, and some microchip thing, and your Node MCU, NanoPi, so Orange Pi, Raspberry Pi. So what you can do means your node, if it is coming from any of this one, so actually you can select this Blink app as one of your dashboarding solution. So what is required, you need to select, for example, your hardware, and then click OK. Okay, then what will happen, it will be creating that mini, and then you need to write the firmware at your node, because in your embedded node you need to write a firmware for this particular Blink app. And then in the firmware, what will be there, you will be using your there will be a default firmware, you need to write it. And then after adding this particular devices, what is required, for example, in my case I added Node MCU. Then connection type, whether you are using Wi-Fi or Ethernet, or what is the connection type, then need to specify it. Then what will happen, in each devices you need to provide a typical token. Okay, that token will be available, that you need to copy it, because during firmware development you need to use that particular token. After completing that, you can set up your device, right? And then in your setup, whether on your typical screen, what all the things are required. Okay, so you can add the widget. Okay, you can add the widget. Suppose you want to create a widget related to button, so you can select the button, and then you can rename it. And basically whenever you are creating a button, it has to be mapped with the hardware, right? In your device level, whether your end node is if it's a microcontroller, for example Arduino, in Arduino's which particular GPIO pin is mapped to the relay, so that you need to specify it, for example the pin number. And then if you are connecting on and off, right, so it has to be converted from 0 to 1, so that need to be mentioned in this particular dashboard. Okay, so the pin number you can select it, whether it is connected to D0, D1, etc. All these things actually you can specify it. Then after clicking OK, so you can complete the project and select. You can come out. So what will happen? You can start the project. So like D0. Okay, D0. It is a push button kind of thing. it will like on and off. When you push, it will be on, and another one will be off. And similarly, the gauge over here, I just kept it for a kind of a device temperature monitoring kind of thing. Okay. Basically, actually, we build it for a kind of a smart, like band. So that smart band, no, if you wear, you will be getting the temperature. We actually made it for monitoring the temperature for different people, right? So in such cases, what you can do, you can name it like N1, N2, N3. All the devices temperature we can remotely access it. So that is actually one of the easy solution. We can say that's a simple dashboarding solution. So here what will happen, there is no third-party cloud. So directly what will happen, Blink is maintaining all these things. Okay, Blink is maintaining all this. Now, similarly, if you come back, the another one I'll be telling you that is known as the ThinkSpeak. Okay. Okay. Wait a moment. It is got shared. Share the screen. I hope it is now visible, right? My screen is visible. ThinkSpeak screen is visible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is actually a kind of an, again, I can say this is having commercial as well as open version is available. So, like when you go for commercial, there will be add-on features will be there. Now, actually, I'm doing it's an open version. So what you can do, I'll just show you some of the available channels. Okay, I have my own channels, and there are some public channels are there. So you can build these kind of channel. Okay, so for example, if you take an example of ThinkSpeak with a remote node, okay, so that how the dashboard will look like. Okay, so this is actually one of the public channel. The dashboard is looking something like where we are getting the dust gauge and temperature, humidity, and your dust concentration. And similarly, there are some tank sensors, pressure sensors, say like etc. So these all informations are updated from a remote place. Okay, so what you can do means the advantage is like how to build this particular dashboard. So the first thing is actually you have to create your own one channel. There are publicly available channels are there. Okay, public channels are available, so you can see like how they look. For example, this is another channel which is available. So where people used to store the location. So this is something in India, right? So people have made a kind of IoT solution where he's updating the data. Right now, there is no data is available, but still people can update it. So similarly, I for application purpose, I will make my channel. This is my channel. I have many channels. Few channels are actually I created it. So for example, Neelit IoT. Okay, so a kind of channel. So like I added my location at Calicut and like some temperature information, humidity information. It is not updated right now because the device is turned off, right? So I can even give the location and my some videos related to this one. So I can. Okay. So now what we need to do, like your data need to be forwarded from your node level. So whenever you are sending from node level, so basically what is required, we need to create your data fields. Okay. So data fields need to be created. So suppose how to create this data field, and again how to create some kind of like in previous case I told there are some keys required. So similarly there are some API key will be available for individuals. So this is for my key. Okay. So similarly there are some public keys and private keys will be available. So now after doing that, you can create your own channels. Okay, my channels I am creating it. Okay. Now if you want to create it, you can start a new channel. Okay, you can start a new channel. Then like as I told, in MQTT we have topics are there. So this is in the background. Actually, the communication protocol, application protocol is MQTT only. So what you can do, you can create the field. For example, temperature. So temperature is a kind of topic. TMP, temperature is a kind of topic. Okay. So and you can name it, nail it, nail it underscore, nail it, IoT new. Okay, this is a channel we have created. You can give the description. And similarly, how many parameters need to be sent from your node? Those are information you can do it. And you can specify the latitude, longitude, so that you will be getting all the location, position, etc. And you can save it. So the problem is like you'll be having only minimal control over here. Only we are getting the statics, right? And if you want to do the advantage of this kind of dashboard, no, the ThinkSpeak dashboard, only the minimal statics will be available. Like the widgets are really less. But if you go with a commercial, so you'll be getting more widgets. Now I'll show you like one more scenario. I hope you understood about ThinkSpeak. Now I'll be switching to one more scenario. So maybe 1 second. I'll be just holding. Okay. A moment. So this is actually a kind of dashboard where we have little bit more functionalities are available. So the name of the dashboard is, this is again an open dashboard from the Adafruit. So the advantage of this dashboard, no, so this comes with many say like widgets. Okay, so if you want to create, so here also backend scenario is something like it is the MQTT. So here also you can create various feeds. So these are actually one of the feed like temperature, and like what was the previous old temperature data, right? It was emitted from my location, and there is actually something kind of a relay because I have a control option is there. Previously only sensing was there, now it's a control option is there. So what we can do means I can just if you want to build a dashboard, so what you can do, you can start creating a new dashboard. For example, this is the dashboard which I kept for one of my devices. Okay, so if you want to edit, okay, you can edit the layout, and you can add say like you can make some changes if you want. So you can say here we have only two gadgets are available. You can save it, some changes, modifications required, or if you want to do a new block, okay, so you can create it. So these are the options, widget options are available. For example, I want some kind of a graph, right? I want some kind of a graph. For example, this we can take it. Okay, on which say like topic you need a graph. For example, I want to get my past temperature information, okay, to be displayed. So you can see this is a kind of temperature versus time, okay, and history, what are the things, and x-axis and y-axis. This is y-axis, right? Temperature, x-axis is a kind of date and time, and you can keep other properties over here. Okay, now you can create it. Okay, you can create it. So block is actually got created, and it will take time to update. Okay, it will take time to update. Now the dashboard informations are there. Now previously we have created this one. Now this is just now we have created it. We'll wait for the updation. Okay, and similarly what we can do, you can also have a control mechanism to this particular environment. So if you want to control this particular device, there is a turn on turn off kind of say like mechanisms are actually available. So that actually you can say like execute it. Okay, so it will be giving you right the information related to whether this device need to be turned on or turned off. We'll wait for the updation. So this is actually one of the way we can create. This is actually a ready-made dashboards. Now the third-party dashboard is something like you can also build the same thing used with a thingsboard.io. So it is being updated, right? You have the temperature variations are actually being displayed over here. Okay, you can edit layout. Okay, some edit settings, block temperature last 6 minutes. Okay, 6 minutes back we have got. Okay. Okay. So this is actually the why it does not display. It is y-axis minimum and maximum. Okay, that is the problem. Okay. Minimum is 0 degrees Celsius. Okay. Okay, update this block. Yeah, we got it. Okay, so previously I have got a typing issue. So you got a graph, right? So now what will happen? Now from a mobile phone, for example, I have configured it from cloud environment. Now what we can do, you can access your channel from an app. Okay, so you can access your channel. The Adafruit IO app can be installed on your mobile phone. So what will happen? Just click on this. You can able to access the same information from your mobile phone. Okay, so this dashboard is completed. You can save it. Now what will happen? From multiple say like environment, you can control the devices, or you can get the statics of the devices, all these things from a remote environment. Okay, so like this is a kind of dashboard with we have some existing say like mechanisms are available. Now what will happen? The dashboarding is also a kind of thing. Third-party applications are available. This is a kind of remote IoT kind of application. Now another way of implementing is like you have to build everything from scratch, because now to access this data, whatever data is required. So basically what is required, so here also some kind of key information is required. Okay, so that previously we told for secure data transmission, there is a key is there in ThingSpeak, as well as keys available in your Blink app. So similarly a key information is required. Also like you need to write a corresponding API call, or maybe a kind of functions in your end node or gateway. Okay, in gateway environment also you can write it, or otherwise you are directly pushing from your node. In such cases you need to write the corresponding firmware or maybe the application code at your end node, so that what will happen, it will be start publishing the data to the cloud, that is Adafruit. So actually I am telling cloud, but in the background there is a MQTT server is available. Okay, we can call this MQTT broker is available. So through that only the data transmission is happening. And again from mobile phone, if you are trying to access it, mobile phone is also accessing the MQTT broker, that is Adafruit. It will be having a credential will be there, like username, password. If you enter it, you can access the dashboard. So you can get the statics, you can make the changes. Okay. And another way is something like, instead of using this dashboard, you can also build your own dashboard. So in such cases, what is the difference? The difference will be like, you will be able to access your dashboard component, like the MQTT broker info, sorry, the topic information you have to access using your application. So you need to write the application. Maybe the application can be built in Qt, okay, Qt QML, or it may be like the Java, okay, or in say like in a Python environment, GUI environment, and so you can create your own GUI. So at that time, what will happen? You have to start developing everything from scratch. So like this dials or monitors, etc., etc. Those things actually you have to make it yourself. But like the traditionally available dashboard, if you try it, the advantage is like like you have various options will be available. This is limited options are available because this is not a non-commercial way I opened it. And similarly, there are thingsboard.io is available. There we have a little bit more say like options are available. If you want to control it in a kind of industrial IoT kind of applications. So like you will be having strategy management, and there will be some users will be having some access, other users will be having other access. So those kind of things you cannot address here. So then you have to go with a commercial thingsboard kind of thing. So where we use thingsboard, so there actually for some users, if you want to keep some restrictions, and some administrators are there, they need to have full control, like AC control of a complete entire building. Only users will be having only lab level equipment you need to control. but entire say like department only the maybe like the administrator in that particular solution. But here in say like these kind of solutions will be having a generic dashboard with good number of options are available. Maybe it's for DIY, it will be really good option. Now, if you want to go for professional, you can log in a professional account and then get more dashboarding components. And okay, so I'll just stop sharing this. Okay. I hope towards end I'll just show you like few of our say like prototypes which we created here. Okay, which we worked with ThinkSpeak, and we have our own internal node user. We have developed the maybe the IoT. Say like there's a trainer which consists of all the sensors and actuators which is integrated on that. And similarly, the learning opportunities are considered. So, like we are actually one of the co-lead center for the IoT Prime Future Skill Program. It is an initiative by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. And there are a few programs are available like a postgraduate diploma program, IoT, AI, and similarly embedded VLSI areas. We have say like PG diploma programs are available for students, those who are really wanted to work in that. And then few say like IoT initiatives, something like that, the smart farming, and like a poly house with all the co-ops. This is a front end, the dashboarding front end. You can see the co-op such dashboarding environment which we created for smart farming, and a smart parking prototype solution. And this is actually the smart power management prototype solution for AC control, right? So that kind of a small setup which we have made. And this is spot on, like a kind of an old scenario, that indoor navigation IoT application. And this is actually the another dashboard related to the wireless weighing. Like it is we made for the PEPS industries, like the PEPS mattress, that is a industry. So for them, there is a commercial prototype actually we created and given. So these all are something like, and also we worked with Airport Authority of India and for some developing some of their prototype for like at Hyderabad International Airport, and as part of Calicut International Airport, one of two prototype we have created, and one solution for like smart weather monitoring solution that we have set up at IASR, Indian Institute of Spices Research, and in 2018 we have completed that. So, so that is actually some of the work related to this IoT dashboarding. Okay, and maybe any kind of questions related to this, so I can quickly walk through.
Yeah, thank you, Rajesh, for the excellent presentation, especially the theory tied with demonstration and showing us a lot of applications that were built by your institute. I think audience are fully convinced with the technology and the possibilities of the IoT technology. Thank you very much, Rajesh. I think we have a lot of questions in the chat box. Okay. So I request Emma to take up each of the questions and just read out for the benefit of all, and request Rajesh to possibly answer or give suggestions.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay, sir. Yeah. Open source project dashboard where we can contribute to its. Yeah, actually, some people. Do you know any open source projects for dashboards where we can contribute to its construction? So, in the sense, if you want to start completely from open source, so like we have some solutions related to like this ThinkSboard. So ThinkSboard is actually a kind of thing. So where you can add your like some coding style over there, so that you can slightly modify the design, etc., etc. So that is acceptable. Okay, and then another area is like Node-RED is there. That is also a kind of an open solution So where you can completely make your own dashboard solution by yourself. Okay. And there are a lot of GitHub, projects are available, like those who are created in Qt/QML and similarly in Java environment. So that also can be utilized. If it is suitable for your application, you can use those as a base source and you can develop your own maybe kind of thing. Or in GitHub, the advantage is like you can also contribute. Like since you told, you can also commit the modification so that your modification will be reviewed by third party. So that kind of advantage is there. And then there.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. And someone asked about regarding the data storage and its security. And who is the owner of the data of this dashboard? See, like there are two things. Suppose you are going for a maybe a third party like say like dashboarding solution like the Adafruit or maybe the Thingsboard, etc. So sorry, not Thingsboard, the ThinkSpeaks, etc. And even AWS, Amazon AWS. So in such cases, actually the like the owner will be ourselves. But like there will be like a specialized security solution will be available in all these cases, so that there will be an agreement. Initial agreement will be there. So you need to clearly read out that. So the agreement, like the data validity, when up to what are the terms and conditions. So those will be clearly available. So security wise, if you want to secure your data, you have to go with a commercial say like.
Okay, Rajesh.
Yes, sir. Hello, sir.
Yeah. So Valsraj is asking, what about adapting the low power communication technologies in traditional networks? Is it impossible? Why the merging is not happening?
See, low power communications in like in IoT, if you are talking, so it is already happening. Maybe like I know, like in Kerala itself, the like the LoRaWAN, like one of the big project is already started in the last year. So they are trying to cover like all the 14 districts in Kerala. So using the LoRaWAN network. So LoRaWAN itself is like like the technology has developed such a way that there are few researches happening. It's like without like taking the power, right? Back to the node. So like or with a minimal battery life, so you could able to your node should able to update the data maybe for a span of around 2 years, etc. So such kind of say like R&D work is happening, and also these LoRaWAN networks are really useful for implementing like smart city and smart environment kind of applications. So that's why low power communication can be used. Okay. But only thing is, like the complete infrastructure is not established. Still, I am telling 14 district is covered, but in few areas, I'll tell you, like the coverage may not be for entire district. It may be for restricted for 1 or 2 kilometers, or in some area it will be 5 kilometers, etc. So that restrictions are there, but still it is coming up.
Yeah. We have a separate session on LoRaWAN technologies for IoT.
Right. Yeah, that will be great. Then sir will be covering in a detailed manner about this.
So another question is MQTT seems to be inherently insecure. What is your comment on securing it?
Okay, so what will happen in MQTT? So if you start using this DTLS in the background, like in your transport layer, so you can add additional security on that. So there are actually few implementations are actually happened with changing your traditional UDP to DTLS, so and TLS mechanism. So maybe like you can adopt that so that you can try to secure your data using this way. Okay.
Yeah.
So that is actually one of the way you can secure it. And like security is not only related to this messaging. So because there are a lot of loopholes are available. So you want to add like the hardware security, like your like a secure boot. So there are many levels of security need to be implemented. But with respect to the MQTT, so you can say underlying protocol you can change, and DTLS facility can be implemented for ensuring the security for like at the MQTT level.
Yeah. Mr. Vinod V. Nair is asking, with multiple layers of IoT in common IoT communications, is there a possibility of cross talk or interference, information loss for other devices?
Okay, so like when multi-protocol, so like as of now, like if like your the multiple devices when you are trying to connect. For example, there are few devices are available with the Wi-Fi, and few devices are available with the Zigbee, or few devices are with Bluetooth, etc. So as of now, there's a clear like filtering is happening, but whenever number of nodes are actually really high, so there will be a problem, right? So that actually we need to address it. So that problem will even happen if you don't properly manage the channels, whatever it is being used. Say, for example, if you go a place where maybe around 10 Wi-Fi's are working, and if the channels are not properly managed, so definitely what will happen, even you are connected to one device, sometimes what will happen, if you feel that okay, device is disconnected from that particular network. So similar issue will happen in case of multi like protocols. Suppose Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Zigbee, all these networks are actually working on a single environment. That is a multi-protocol supported gateway environment. So there, what you have to do, you need to properly manage the channels. So suppose if you are not managing the channels, definitely there will be a problem of maybe packet loss or connectivity issues will be there. But it's a good area for research. Now the things are actually happening.
Yeah, but most of the channels are in ISM band, right? 2.4 gigahertz.
Yes, sir. Actually, things are in 2.4 band, but the problem is you need to change the channels like 2.41, 42, etc. There are around 12 channels are available in Zigbee is concerned. So similarly in Wi-Fi also we have channels. So what you have to do means we need to manage, like we have to exactly map with the Wi-Fi 1 with this channel and Wi-Fi 2 with this channel, something like that. Actually, we need to clearly map it. Otherwise, what will happen? There will be a loss, definitely.
So another question is from Venkata Subramaniam Ganapati. What protocol does the Watson IoT platform dashboard use to communicate with Watson IoT platform?
So the protocol, if you are talking about in IBM Watson, so again IBM Watson also actually you will be getting the underlying protocol. You are talking about messaging protocol. Okay, I hope right. In IBM Watson, the question is something related to the messaging protocol. There also you will be using the traditional same, like the MQTT can be used, and again the options of MQTT will be you can enable it in the Watson environment. That is in the background.
How do I create a dashboard for dashboard in IoT? Maybe something related to Watson itself. I think.
Okay, so like two options are available. Either like the traditional the data, whatever it is pushed over there, you can access it using. There's an API options are available. So you need to enable those API options. So then what you can do, those APIs can be called from your third-party application. So that what will happen, whatever data you have stored there, you can access it over here and you can display it using your own say like a dashboard.
So, okay. So there is another question from Meera Gandhi. How to create API credentials in IBM Watson dashboard? Any dashboards, please provide the links.
Okay. So if you want to create this IBM Watson API, there is a documentation is available in IBM itself. So what you have to do, first you have to create an account in IBM, okay, IBM Watson. Then you have to tell about like what are the maybe the devices related specification. There's a documentation, reference documentation is available. So what will happen? There you click it, you can able to get the API sources. Okay, and similarly you need to select which platform you are working, whether you are working with a Linux environment with C or maybe with Java. So those related APIs are actually available. So you can get it. You will be getting from their official website.
Yeah. So a related question is how dashboards helps in analytics, basically for visualization, right?
Yeah, so, see, dashboard basically helps in analytics because dashboard basically provides, if you are keeping some trends, right? So then, like by getting this particular trends, what we can do means we can able to say like predict certain informations, right? So in that way, you can say the dashboard will be helping you for, you can say the quick analysis of certain situations. Like, like in weather monitoring situations now. So, like suppose if you are keeping the outside temperature, humidity and pressure and all these informations, okay. So if you keep it, So there is actually, the researchers, they have a option that whenever the temperature rises and humidity variations are coming over there, there's a chance of rain, they can predict it. Okay, so by seeing the dashboard, for example, past 3 hours data are available in a kind of graph information, they will be predicting that, okay, today evening there will be a kind of rain. So in that level, actually, there are certain predictions people can do it. So maybe for a basic level of prediction, you can use this kind of dashboarding.
Yeah. So another question from Dr. Sukhvinder Sharma. If I want to propose a new system having new device, that means hardware and software like storage, web access, analytics, etc., how to implement?
So straight away, new system, new hardware means there are two things are required. One is in many of the commercial dashboard, maybe existing dashboard. So they will be having support related to the microcontroller streams, whatever you are using. So because that will be having API call, something related to maybe Arduino or etc. or existing development boards. But if you want to make yourself a new thing, like new hardware is required, so what you need to do means you have to develop a library, standard libraries for example, your dashboard. So maybe like it is like MQTT publishing, subscribing, or even in case of the REST API call, generic API calls are there. So what you have to do means you have to cross compile those API call and complete application for the new hardware. Okay, so what will happen? It will be little bit hectic. Like you need to create your own maybe like a libraries, and then you have to develop everything by yourself. Okay, if entirely new thing. Otherwise, you are using a standard hardware, then there won't be issue. Existing libraries will be available, so you can use those libraries, and your application development will be really quick. And second thing is like if you want to build your own say like cloud environment. So in such cases also, API calls will not be there. Direct API calls will not be there. So, but publishing and subscribing is a standard mechanism. So, standard API calls can be used. But like the key information, like how you are securing those elements, you need to add extra. Okay. So again, there are also some kind of say like development will be software development process will be there that you have to complete by yourself.
Yeah. Another question is, what about the data storage and its security? Who is the owner of data in these dashboards?
Yeah, right. Actually, that I hope, sir. I already explained. Sir.
Yes. Okay. So I think most of the questions are answered. Excellent presentation. I think I thank on behalf of all the participants.
Okay.
Rajesh, very excellent presentation, and most of the participants have commented on your talk and presentation as excellent. So thank you so much. Maybe we will be in touch in future as well. I think you have introduced the institution as well, right?
Right.
So participants, please note down. It's a center of excellence for IoT related works. They are doing very excellent work there. A lot of people are there, and I think a lot of projects are also been given by
yes, sir.
And they are supporting a lot of projects from academia. So please do contact this institute for any other related IoT related things. So thank you so much. I think we are close the.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for inviting and giving an opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.